This year, as happens every 2 years, your executive board meetings lead to our board of directors meeting in October. These meetings give us an opportunity to pool our strength, bringing to the table our concerns, strategies, and tactics for dealing with some of the toughest issues that we face. Despite the challenges that we have confronted in the past 18 months, I believe we can fairly summarize in one sentence where we are today. The state of our union is strong. And I believe we can summarize in just one word where we want to be at the end of our 2014 Board of Directors meeting: stronger. I believe that our chances of success are very good if we prepare and we pull together. The Board of Directors meeting is a golden opportunity to gather our forces and focus our energy toward achieving our common goals. Let's not miss out on this opportunity. I'm asking that each executive board member contribute to this discussion in your MEC updates at this meeting. I'm asking that you take the time to talk to each other while we're here together. The members of this executive board have the ability, and I believe the responsibility, to be directly involved in the shaping of our direction for the Board of Directors meeting. This is what I see before us. We must use our strength, be unyielding in opposing the current unlevel playing field for our carriers. This affects all of us, not just those who fly international routes. Success in the international arena is essential if we're going to have healthy domestic airlines. In Canada, we continue to battle the temporary foreign worker program that allows Canadian airlines to expand their flight crews with foreign pilots on a seasonal basis. ALPA continues to lead the effort in tightening the rules that govern this program and to ensure that Canadian pilots have the first opportunity at available jobs. We are certainly encouraged by the recent progress on this issue, but we know there's still much work to be done. We've also seen recent progress in our campaign opposing U.S. government policy that allows for the development of CBP pre-clearance facilities in locations outside of the United States where no U.S. airlines fly. I'm cautiously optimistic to report that during a meeting last week with CBP officials, we learned they have modified their approach for future plans, and specifically, they will no longer consider any location that is not served by a U.S. airline. Trending positive? We certainly hope so. In the U.S., we launched our Save Our Skies public campaign last week after receiving a 100% approval of our executive board ballot for a $1 million MCF allocation. This shows the level of support across the association for this very important program. The campaign kicked off with a very hard-hitting print ad in the Washington Post and a radio ad that hit the airwaves exposing NAI's scheme to skirt labor laws and do their flying in and out of the United States.
This is the captain speaking. For your safety, please fasten your seatbelts. There is turbulence ahead.
In Washington, the turbulence we face is of a different kind, an underhanded business scheme that threatens the U.S. airline industry and its employees. A mysterious airline called NAI wants a federal permit to fly in and out of the United States. NAI calls itself Norwegian, but it registers its airplanes in Ireland, hires its pilots in Singapore, and bases its flight crews in Thailand. Now, NAI is trying to coerce the Department of Transportation into fast-tracking its application, while important questions about ensuring the safety of its operation remain. Transportation Secretary Fox must stop this dangerous scheme, stand up for American workers, and deny NAI. Learn more and take action at denynai.org. Paid for by the Airline Pilots Association International.
The feedback has been encouraging, both from the public media and legislators who continue to rally support maybe you've noticed the increased media exposure on the issue. At ALPA, we've upped our advocacy and media game by hiring Kathy St. Dennis, formerly of the Department of Transportation Federal Highway Administration, as our new Director of Communications. And Kathy, if you're back there, would you please stand up? Kathy St. Dennis, Executive Board. So yes, we're trending positive, but this fight will not be over soon. We must ask our Board of Directors to do what is necessary to prevent our flying from being exported to airlines with unfair competitive advantages. As a stronger union, we must continue to pursue a bargaining agenda that justly rewards our members for their contributions to the success of our carriers. I believe we can stand on two essential principles that have worked well for us. First, we can have stable and mutually beneficial business relationships with managements that respect our association. They must also share our interests in mutually constructive labor relations. They must deal with issues, reaching equitable agreements, and resolving disputes. We know that they may not always support our view and that we will not always agree easily, but we will do our part with these managements to find solutions to genuine problems. Second, as to managements whose main desire is to be our adversary, who do not respect the principles of union representation, who do not wish to deal with issues or resolve disputes, who do not wish to make or honor agreements, will be as strong as necessary and use our resources as required. We have among us seen more than enough conflict, and we don't seek it out. But we must be prepared and resolute in our cause if others seek it. As we plan for the future, let us consider these principles as our overarching strategy, and let us propose that our Board of Directors support a progressive bargaining agenda. And our bargaining agenda must include fair and equitable agreements for our fee-for-departure pilot groups. This segment of our industry is in the midst of another dynamic period, and many of our members in this segment have recently been through or are still engaged in mergers. Repeated changes of direction have resulted in very difficult negotiations. Members who once knew stability are being forced to fight for their careers. Members are frustrated and they're dissatisfied with what their negotiators obtain, and some have sent their committees back to the table. And on top of all this, we have been forced to correct the record on the so-called pilot shortage. Executives must recognize that fair agreements are a necessity, and they should be joining with us in explaining the difference between a pilot shortage and a pay shortage. Even the business media speaks of stingy pay and miserably low pay as a problem. This week, the Regional Airline Association is holding its annual convention in St. Louis. One of the panels will discuss the rumored pilot shortage, and I wonder if they asked an active pilot to sit in on that discussion. Regardless of what is said, ALPA will continue to highlight the facts behind the rumored pilot shortage. 2 weeks ago, I testified before the U.S. House Aviation Subcommittee and reiterated our position that the shortage the airline industry faced is indeed not a pilot shortage, but a pay and benefits shortage for qualified pilots, that we must find a solution. As a stronger union, you know that we have many challenges, and we must use our resources more effectively to bring about greater membership support by best practices in every area. Our members must believe that their dues are no higher than necessary and being spent wisely to deliver first-class services. We have successfully reorganized our staff structure to deliver services aligned with current challenges, opportunities, and member priorities. We are now engaged in examining ways to make our internal operations more effective, more efficient in our IT, HR, and finance departments. Now, we adopted a dues rate reduction at the 2012 BOD meeting. And I believe that we should be prepared and execute on, at the 2014 meeting, another dues rate reduction from 1.9 to 1.85. And we're proposing a 2015 budget at the August Executive Council meeting that takes this into account by including a 0.05 surplus without a reduction in services. Need your support on that. Need your leadership on that. We need to move forward with that. And looking forward means we must also talk about our fellow pilots that are represented by independent unions. Bringing the profession together into the Airline Pilots Association is a worthwhile goal that deserves our union's serious attention. And I believe that bringing independence into ALPA will be a pilot force multiplier in bargaining and in advocacy, also enabling us to maintain superior services at lower dues rates. If you believe, as I do, that independent pilot unions are going to become progressively less effective with a negative impact on all of us, we should be taking steps in that direction. The fact that these pilots are already union members makes them somewhat unique compared to unorganized professions. It means that the goal of bringing the profession together, bringing us together, can be accomplished between associations rather than by organizing. And this is not just an endeavor of the moment, but one that will take time, and it will require a very frank discourse. It may call on all to examine our attitude towards one another. It will certainly call on all of us to deal with one another in a respectful manner. And again, I believe, and I want to underscore this point, this deserves our attention at this precise moment in time. ALPA today is a powerful force for safeguarding the progress of its members and our entire profession. But we can be stronger, and we must be stronger. Join us, other independent groups, in a very frank discussion on how we can best achieve the goal of a truly unified pilot profession and move forward with a goal of a truly productive and successful 2014 Board of Directors and beyond. Thank you.